Let's talk about Michel Foucault. You know, the guy whose ideas on power and knowledge totally changed the game. But let's be real for a second. Trying to read his work can be a serious headache. So today, we're going to crack open some of his biggest, most challenging concepts, but we're going to do it with a little help.
Have you ever had this happen? You're reading Foucault, you hit a page and you think, yes, I totally get it. And then you turn to the next page and you're just completely lost? If that sounds familiar, trust me, it's a pretty common feeling when you're trying to wrestle with a mind like his.
You are definitely not alone. Foucault's insights into how power really operates in our daily lives are honestly more relevant now than ever. But getting to those insights can feel like trying to climb this huge, intimidating mountain of theory. So what's the secret? How do we actually make it to the top? Yeah, let's call it the Foucault challenge. It's that frustrating gap between knowing his work is essential and actually being able to understand it and, use it in your own thinking. But imagine for a second, what if you had a map? What if you had a guide that could lead you through the maze of his thinking and take you straight to the heart of his most powerful ideas? Well, that's exactly what we're going to look at today. We're talking about an essential guide into the world of Foucault. Okay, here it is, the Foucault Dictionary by Isaac Volpe. This thing is designed to be the key that unlocks all those complicated ideas. And it doesn't matter if you're a student deep in academia or just someone who's really curious about how our world is put together. And the author, Isaac Volpe, he's the real deal. Educated at the Sorbonne in Paris, the guy has this incredible gift for taking really complex history and philosophy and just making it make sense. He's not just some stuffy scholar, he's a passionate teacher, and you can totally feel that in the way this book is written. All right, so talk is cheap, right? Let's put this dictionary to the test. Let's take 3 of Foucault's absolute biggest, most famous concepts and see how the book actually breaks them down for us. First up, biopower. Now, this is Foucault's term for a massive shift in how power operates. For centuries, a king's power was basically the power over death. He could decide to take your life. Foucault says modern governments are defined by their power over life itself. Think about it. Public health policies, the census, managing birth rates, all of that is biopower in action. And boom, here's where it all just clicks into place. Foucault himself said that for the first time, our very biological existence was reflected in political existence. All of a sudden, politics wasn't just about armies and laws anymore. It was about managing the health and well-being of the entire population. Okay, next up is a classic you've probably heard of, panopticism. Foucault was totally fascinated by how surveillance changes us. The core idea is actually super simple. If you even think you might be watched, you start policing your own behavior. It's an incredibly subtle but unbelievably effective form of control. In his famous book, Discipline and Punish, he just lays it all out. The whole point is to create a state of conscious and permanent visibility. Power basically becomes automatic. You don't need a guard breathing down your neck if the idea of the guard is already planted in your head. It's brilliant and kind of terrifying, right? And finally, let's tackle discourse. Okay, this one is a biggie. For Foucault, discourse isn't just talk. It's the entire system of language and knowledge that institutions like medicine or the law or science use to define what gets to be called truth. These systems don't just describe reality, they actively create it. But here is the crucial twist, and this is so important. Foucault points out that discourse isn't just a weapon for the powerful. Yes, he says it can reinforce power, but it can also undermine and expose it. This is where the cracks appear. This is where we can push back. And that kind of nuance is exactly what this dictionary helps you uncover. So, after seeing just those few examples, you start to get a feel for how this book works. But why is it such an essential tool to have on your shelf? Look, at the end of the day, this book is your all-in-one resource. It gives you that solid foundation with clear definitions, sure. But what's more important is that it helps you connect the dots to really start thinking critically with these concepts. It doesn't matter if you're writing a paper or just want to understand the world a little better, it's a practical tool for seeing those hidden systems of power all around us. So, if you're ready to finally stop feeling intimidated by Foucault and actually start using his incredible ideas, here's how you can get started. So, what do you think? Are you ready to make that leap from confused to confident with one of the most important thinkers of the last century? This book really is the key. It's super simple. You can grab your own copy of the Foucault Dictionary by hitting the Amazon link we've put right there in the description below this video. Which really just leaves us with one last question to think about. Once you have the tools to see how power and knowledge really operate all around you, what part of your world will you never be able to look at in the same way again?